Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is Business Incorporated live from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwagu. On the show today, Royal Dutch Shell PLC and the chief executive of Italian oil company Eni may face charges of corruption in Italy over controversial Nigerian deal. Nigeria is set to increase custom duties for tomato imports and waive tariffs for some farming equipment. Plus, the International Monetary Fund expects Somalia's economy to slow sharply this year. Now let's get started. Italian prosecutors are pursuing a criminal trial for Royal Dutch Shell PLC and the chief executive of Italian oil company Eni on charges of corruption tied to a controversial Nigerian deal. The prosecutor's request, if granted by a judge over the next several months, could lay bare the operations of Shell and the actions of Eni executives in pursuit of a potentially giant Atlantic Ocean oil discovery that has come to symbolize pervasive graft in Nigeria's energy industry. The investigation targets 11 individuals, including Eni's current CEO, Claudio Descalzi, and his predecessor, Paolo Scaroni. Charges are being pursued against Shell as a corporation, though no executives are named. The move to prosecute the two companies is the latest twist in allegations that their 2011 deal to buy the oil block for over $1 billion amounted to an enormous bribe. The block, known as OPL 245, is believed to hold 9 billion barrels of crude oil. And to the market, starting off here in Africa, NSE All Share Index, and of course, the market in Egypt, EGX 30, slipped back into the negative territory. At midday, the NSE All Share Index was down 0.37%. And the South African market was trading up at midday Nigerian time, 0.19% up. Egyptian Stock Exchange was down 0.64%, and Kenyan Stock Exchange traded up 0.02% yesterday. In the Middle East, poor fourth quarter earnings from two United Arab Emirates companies weighed on stock markets there, while Saudi Arabia barely moved. Dubai's index was pulled 1.16% lower at intraday as Air Arabia dropped 5.8% in unusually heavy trade after it made a net loss attributable to owners of 38.6 million dirhams versus a net profit of 55.9 million dirhams in the previous year. Abu Dhabi was down 0.10%. Saudi market was trading in the green, up 0.20%, and Qatar was up 0.39%. And investors in Europe are still focusing on earnings and taking cautious approach amid rising political uncertainty. Britain's House of Commons overwhelmingly approved a bill authorizing the government of Prime Minister Theresa May to trigger Article 50 of the European Union's Lisbon Treaty to begin the country's formal withdrawal from the EU. Let's bring in my colleague in Frankfurt, Annette Wisbert, for more from Europe. Good afternoon, Annette. Well, it seems UK is ready to leave the Eurozone as Brexit gets approval in UK Parliament. Is the Eurozone ready to let UK go?
I think the Eurozone leaders are ready to let the UK go, but the big question mark is which terms will the UK want to have after they have left. I think the negotiations to depart and also the negotiations which actually follow after the departure are key here for Eurozone member states or European member states, and also for companies in the single market, because that will all determine how business will actually be able to operate between then the UK having left the European Union and the rest of Europe. Currently, it looks like that the European leaders are not willing to be really nice to the UK. They want to yeah, they are not willing to give them any preferential treatment here. They want to be tough on them because it shouldn't be an example for others that it's easy to leave Europe and then there will be a better deal even after having left the European Union. They will show that this will be very bad for the country.
I'm sure investors will be keeping an eye on this process. Now let's look at Germany. The latest data coming out from there, trade surplus reaching a new record high. That's in 2016. That's a trend which, of course, is likely to fan the flames of a debate between Washington and Berlin about Germany's dependence on exports. If you recall, U.S. President Donald Trump had accused Germany of over-dependence on foreign demand. Is this report a worrying development for Germany?
Yes and no. I guess for the German economy, it's actually a good sign because it again shows that German exports are in demand everywhere in the world, and that is positive for German companies and economic growth here in the euro area. But at the same time, it's highly questionable whether this can prevail on such a high level because we have, as you rightly mentioned, we have the United States now being rather protectionistic, at least in their rhetoric, and we don't know whether they will follow suit with also measures like tariffs. So this could be a potential threat to German exporters. At the same time, criticizing Germany for exporting so many things in the world, it's kind of misleading because German companies, it's not their fault that their products are actually in demand. One can argue that the exchange rate is not high enough in Germany, and even Mr. Schäuble, our finance minister here in Germany, was saying in an interview just yesterday, yes, the euro exchange rate for Germany is too low, but we cannot do anything about it because the monetary policy is done by the European Central Bank, and they are setting the monetary policy for the whole euro area, not only for Germany. Germany in itself could make it with higher interest rates, i.e. a higher euro exchange rate, but we have to look at the whole Eurozone, and that is why we can't really do anything about it. I guess the argumentation is going kind of in the wrong direction, I would say.
Well, let's look at what's, of course, the big things trending in the market. And looking behind you there, we can see the DAX and the ding-dong movement there. Investors have set in their focus on the earnings. So talk us through Germany's second largest lender, Commerzbank, and French